Welcome back. The Elephant Rock Ride coming up the first Sunday in June in Castle Rock can be a real challenge.
But it's a challenge the American Transplant Foundation's charity cycling team simply can't wait to take on to raise awareness about the 100,000 people in our country who are waiting for a life-saving organ transplant. And joining us now to talk about the upcoming race are Heidi Heltzel, who is the executive director and co-founder of the American Transplant Foundation, and Brian Miller, who was on that waiting list actually and survives today because of a transplant. We want to welcome you both. And we'll get to the race in just a second, so bear with me. But we're going to talk first of all about the American Transplant Foundation. Heidi, tell us what it does.
The American Transplant Foundation is promoting organ and tissue donation so we can reduce the growing gap between the supply and demand. There are, as you mentioned, currently 100,000 people in the United States waiting for a transplant, almost 2,000 of whom live here in Colorado, and that includes men, women, and children. So getting the message out and encouraging people to register to be a donor is an important cause.
It's very important. And Brian, you received a donor organ. Can you share your story with us?
Well, I'd been diagnosed with kidney disease many years ago, back in 1987, and my kidneys slowly failed. Around 2005, it was the end of that, and I had to find a donor. I had gone through the transplant list, but it would have been about a 4.5-year wait to get a kidney that way. So we're trying friends, relatives, things like that, and I was fortunate enough to have a couple people come forward to donate for me. They had problems, so they couldn't do that, and I had a friend of mine put a post on a website for ultra-marathon runners, and that's where I found my donor, Kevin.
Wow.
Oh, what a story.
Wow, and you have developed a great relationship with him. Tell us about what you're trying to do with Team Transplant.
Well, we're trying to promote awareness of donation of organs. I was so fortunate to be able to still lead an active and healthy lifestyle, and that's one of the reasons that my donor picked me to give a kidney to. He had decided he was going to give a kidney, but wasn't really sure how to do it, and we just kind of hit it off, and because I do a lot of ultra-type cycling events, and he's an ultra-marathon runner.
And you're both going to be in this race.
That's right. This is our victory tour. It's going to mark my 4th anniversary of my transplant. In fact, it was the 05 Elephant Rock where I really realized I was very sick and could barely finish the ride.
Well, we're so grateful that you did and that you're just a healthy, vibrant husband, dad, and dentist back to your old life. That's great, but everybody isn't so lucky, Heidi.
Unfortunately, that's true, and that's why it's so important to get this messaging out. And one of our causes is to promote living donation, and Brian is a perfect example of what it means. And Team Transplant gives so many people an opportunity to promote the message through their fundraising to their friends and family, but just as a group, because very rarely do you see such a large group of people come together. You have recipients like Brian who can go back to living a normal life. You have living donors who can continue living a normal life after a transplant. And you have donor families who really like the opportunity to honor the loved one that they had who gave the gift of life to others. So as a group, we're going to have a wonderful day. It's going to be such a beautiful event.
And Brian's story is just one of many stories we hope to hear more of in the future, obviously. Tell us about this. Tell us about the race itself.
Well, we actually had an online contest for our jersey design, and a gentleman from back east designed this, and we selected it as our winning team jersey. To be a member of the team, it's a $50 tax-deductible donation, and we have incentives built in for people who would like to raise more money. You raise $250 and you earn one of these jerseys to be on the team. If you raise $500, you get to go on a training ride with a pro cyclist and have a training program. And then if you raise $1,000, you get a customized training program with excessive testing, tooth whitening, compliments of Brian and his dental practice, and much more. So we really are looking forward to active participation.
Wonderful. Well, you have a couple of registration parties coming up, and if people want information about that, they can go to our website, and we'll have a link to the American Transplant Foundation. We want to thank you so much, Heidi Heltzel and Brian Miller, for joining us today, and good luck signing up those team members.
Thank you very much.
Now, coming up.